So they will be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. In the last episode we saw a lot of things happen. We saw a new country here in India get formed. We saw a war here in the Mediterranean. And we saw the birth of a new alliance being the Star Alliance between Merodria, the Roman Empire and Galicia, and this alliance is pretty scary. So let's waste no time and get straight into this video. The first event of this video will be between Teria and the Indian nations, and this one is a pretty predictable event. We are gonna have Teria explore these lands here in the Indian Pakistani regions. Again, mass exploration has basically begun. They won't go too far into this region as the Himalayan mountains are there and they are challenging the explorers. But also we are gonna see the Indian explorers, explore in these regions, and then they meet the Terians. They will be very surprised by each other. I mean, neither the Indians knew about the outside world and the outside world didn't know about the Indians, so it's gonna be a surprise for both of these groups, which at first clash between each other, and understandably so Teria wins. I mean, second strongest country in the world. But after the king of Teria gets notified about this new discovery, this new group of people, he will immediately send supplies to them and help them develop, because they are very underdeveloped. They are basically in their beginning stages, how civilization began here in Aldicta. Teria will go and supply Persdia, and this is gonna help this nation a lot, and they are gonna develop a lot, and they will even get a capital as basically all the other nations. Persdia's capital will be right here on the coast of India, where it's the biggest population center in there. And now they have a capital just like all the other nations, and they are starting to assimilate with the help of Teria. Now Merodria will have something to say about this, and they are not very happy with the fact that Teria is now getting new allies, because they wish to get influence in this area, but Merodria's limited coastal access here in the Gulf of Aden will not allow them to do this. The meeting of these two nations will be very beneficial for both of the groups, as now mass exploration will take place here in India, almost meeting up with the Himalayan mountains, but they will hesitate going in there for now compared to the Alp mountains, which they had no problem exploring through. Now of course the Himalayan mountains are way bigger than the Alps, so for now they will hesitate to go in that region, but for now they will explore here into Southeast Asia, where they are the jungles of Vietnam and all that, but here it's Myanmar, it's a tad bit better, so they will have no problem going down the Malaysian peninsula, the Malacca peninsula, and explore all this land. Now Teria is becoming one of the top explorer countries, as now working with the Indian nations they will explore here into Southeast Asia, going through Vietnam, but they will be stopped right around here because of the jungles of Vietnam, which are a little too much for this point in time. What's happening to Sabisha? Oh, they had a schism. Yeah, so Sabisha separated into two nations. More exactly, this Lime nation broke out of them, and in the last episode they lost this nation, and now they are losing this Lime country. But the mass exploration continues, and it continues very well, as now basically the entire world has come together exploring these regions, meeting up with the Baikal Lake, which will be a super great water source, and it will for sure help out a lot of the explorer groups in the area. Afro-Eurasia is almost fully discovered, as now a lot of these groups will explore in the east, meeting up with the Chinese, Korean areas, and they have almost reached the end of Siberia, which is a very great achievement for these civilizations and for these early civilizations, because I'd now say that we are in about 300 AD. So this is for sure a great achievement, and now they will reach with the Pacific Ocean in here in this Siberian part. A little while later we will have the explorer groups managing to explore all these Siberian lands, and this is one of the greatest exploring achievements that the world have achieved so far. Basically now there's only this East Asian part and then Oceania, that's not Oceania but in Indonesia and Philippines, that's still part of the old world. Now we'll have explorations happening here in the Manchurian area in China, and we'll have the discovery of the Sakhalin Island in what's real life Russia, and they'll go through here, but here they will finally stop. While here in Japan we'll have them do some island hopping, and they will end up exploring the entire Kuril Island chain, and they are now about to discover Japan, but not for now because I mean they have explored a lot of land, to say the least. And to be honest, for sure there's gonna be a lot of nations forming here in the last unexplored areas. But you wanna know where else there will be new nations? Well, in this whole pocket of explored land, so let's see our new nations. This is the map with all the new nations, and I have given these Indian nations capitals because they are now civilized enough. But we are gonna review the new countries. We are gonna have this Malaccan nation with their capital right there, this Pakistani nation, this purple nation in Central Asia. We have this green Caspian Black Sea nation, a Baikal nation, followed by this yellowish another Siberian nation. Then we have this North Russian nation, followed by a Finnish nation, and then a Swedish Norwegian nation. Also, I'd like to mention that I brightened a little the color of this Gold Russian nation and of their Landia because they were a little bland, so I decided to brighten their color so it's a little more, well, bright and vibrant. And with these new countries we are also gonna have some expansions happening. These are now all the countries with their expanded borders. First we have Persia having a bit more land in here. Teria got a tad bit of land here in Persia and on the Caspian coast. The Aral nations in here have taken some land. This land here in Russia is now split between the Russian nations and the new Caspian nation. And that's about it, so now we can go and do some other stuff. Now we are gonna go to a layer that I made a while ago but I never showed you all because it wasn't the case, but it's the religion layer, and ignore the fact that it's outdated. But we need to focus here on Merodria. This is their religion map, the blue one being of course the main branch, and here are all the other branches of religion that Merodria has. But what is gonna happen is that some of these minorities will start to shrink. And yes, it happened in many Wixos and now it's happening in mine, and that is ethnic cleansing by the Merodrians against these light blue religion groups. They will go in up north and cleanse all these people, and they are committing some pretty horrible atrocities due to their dictatorial government, which came in power in the last episode under Zimov Zelens the 8th. And here it's no different because they will go on like this, and almost this entire light blue branch is almost gone. But something is gonna happen in this Kadoshian group, and this is the fact that people in here of course don't wanna be killed, so they will decide to take action, and take action they will do. And it is here that we'll go on the country names layer, and we'll add a name in here. Now we will have a name appearing here, which is quite interesting because it's inside of Merodria, but here in the Kadoshian regions we'll have the appearance of Al-Dimokra. Now, what is Al-Dimokra, you might ask? Well, it's a terroristic organization against Merodria. Merodria, after cleansing a lot of their people, these guys have decided to turn rebellious, and they have created this terroristic organization that will do, well, exactly what they are supposed to do, and cause some terroristic attacks on Merodria, hoping to weaken their grip over their empire and collapse it as a whole. Now, this organization will be very successful, and they will manage to kill a lot of Merodrians, and there are gonna be some rumors that will be given all the way here in the capital to the king of Merodria, being Zima of Zalens X, and these are that this new terroristic organization is planning to kill him and his entire bloodline and collapse the Merodrian Empire. He will see this as something unforgivable, so he will send his armies to end this terroristic organization. And the Merodrian army will listen to the king's command, and they will go into the Kadoshian regions and start to also cleanse these people which are part of Al-Dimokra. Al-Dimokra is formed of about 5,000 people, and they will here manage to cleanse about 4,000 of them, and they have purified, or that's how Zim of Zalens X calls this, they have purified their nation, but in reality they have just killed a lot of people. Well, it turns out that the rest of 1,000 Al-Dimokrans have actually fled to Teria. And this is very shocking to Merodria, because Teria just let terrorists in their nation, and they have found out that these terrorists aren't just terrorists, they are terrorists against Merodria and want to take down their empire, and this is gonna be too much for the Merodrian king Zim of Zalens X. After he saw Teria accepting refugees from Al-Dimokra, people who were supposed and tried to kill him now have fled to Teria, Merodria's biggest enemy, and now they will take action. And the Merodrian armies will march into Teria, actually invading this nation. Not invading it, but they march their armies through the nation, hoping to find the last 1,000 remaining Al-Dimokrans, and they will exactly do this. They will march straight into Teria, search every house, and for every Al-Dimokran they find, they immediately kill them on the spot. And now the Terian army and population is understandably so very scared. Literally, Merodria is raiding their nation. But now these news are gonna arrive to the king of Teria, King Alan V. Now he hears about the fact that Merodria is literally raiding Teria and searching for these people, and be sure of the fact that Merodria has also killed some innocent Terians. And when King Alan V hears this, he will be absolutely furious, so he will go up north and demand his armies to keep their position and not allow Merodria to advance further. But guess what? Merodria does not care. They still march here, but the king basically tells his armies to back down and not start a war with Merodria. Again, Merodria, a way stronger nation, and also in the last episode they got some new allies here in the Mediterranean. So the best they could do is just to wait and allow Merodria to commit their atrocities. It's unfortunate, but this is what they are gonna do. And again, basically they raid the entire region, they search every house, and for every Al-Dimokran they find, they kill them on the spot, hoping to not leave one person behind. And in this raid of 1,000 people, already half of them have died. Now there's 500 Al-Dimokrans remaining, but it's gonna be around here that the Merodrians decide to back down and basically tell the king, yeah, this is not worth to continue, it's not worth to keep advancing into Teria, because if we advance further than like these Kadoshian lands, for sure Teria isn't gonna allow us to do that, and They will start a war with us, and also probably the Aldemocrans are way further. They are probably, debatably, they are maybe not even in Teria anymore. They might have even fled into the Clarion Union or other nations bordering Teria. Zim of Valens the 10th will listen to what his military generals recommend him, so he will recall a lot of their armies here from Teria, and let's just say Teria will never forget this, and Teria is traumatized. But now the Terian armies are actually pushing the Merodrians out. They are actively basically telling them to go and rushing them back into Merodria. And this is gonna anger King Zima of Valens the 10th, which is gonna come by himself here into the Kadoshian regions, and we are gonna have something super interesting happening around in here with Teria's king, King Alan V. Merodria sent their armies here into Teria and raided the nation in hope to find the Aldemocran terrorists, and they have managed to find many of them. They have taken many of them, but now they are gonna back down and recall their armies back to Merodria after they have basically achieved all they wanted, and the rest of the Aldemocrans, it's not really worth to go for them and search for them. But while recalling their armies, the Terian soldiers not only rushed the Merodrian soldiers and pushed them back here to their nation, but this also led to some casualties and some Terian soldiers attacking Merodrian soldiers. This made Zima of Valens the 10th very mad, and King Alan V will also present himself here, right in this tiny portion of their border. This is where the biggest border skirmish happens, with about a dozen casualties, 10 of them being Merodrian and 2 of them being Terian. And both of these nations' kings are actually so furious at each other that they are actually gonna clash. They will clash right here, the king of Merodria, Zim of Valens VIII, with Teria's king, King Alan V. They will have a horseback duel, they will fight, and both will manage to hurt each other pretty badly. Zim of Valens X though will manage to give King Alan V a pretty good shot and takes his helmet off. But also King Alan V will catch a very good shot on Zim of Valens X, and he will manage to slash the palm of his left hand off, and this injures Zim of Valens X a lot. I mean, understandably so. The king of Teria literally cut the palm of his left hand off, and he's gonna freak out, and basically he will go in and go back to his nation and recall all his armies. Now the Merodrian forces will back down and be recalled back to Merodria, also being pushed by the Terian soldiers. Now Zim of Valens X is heavily injured. He will be rushed back to the capital, where he manages to get treated as best as these nations can in these early times, but he will manage to survive, but heavily injured, and he is missing the palm of his left hand that got cut by the sword slash from King Alan V during the duel. So this is gonna come in as a pretty big blow for Merodria and a super big win for Teria. And when King Alan V arrives back at the capital, also quick mention, King Alan V has little to no injuries from the battle, only a few scratches, but when he arrives back at the capital, all the Terian citizens from the capital cheer him up as he comes back and goes back into his palace, as he just won a super big duel against one of the most infamous leaders of one of the most infamous families in the world, and has just defeated the leader of the strongest nation in the world in a duel. He has basically disabled him of one of his palms, and now he's not even that injured at all, again just a few scratches, and this is gonna come in as a very big win for Teria and shows the world that maybe Merodria isn't as strong as it seems, and maybe Teria still holds in that power that it used to have when it was the strongest nation in the world, and maybe one day they might be able to get their final revenge on Merodria. But this is gonna remain as a tragic day in Teria and Merodria. In Merodria because of the injury that the Merodrian king Simophzalens X got, but also for Teria as many people were killed and their nation literally just got raided by the strongest nation in the world. And for sure Teria will never forget this. Jumping over to the Icelandic nation, we'll have them colonize the rest of their island, understandably so, and now we are finally gonna have another naval expedition by the Landia happening. They will send but a huge number of boats to Iceland to investigate that area that was told the king about, and they will be indeed found here chilling in Iceland, and they are told to come back to their Landia, but of course these are the descendants of the original people that were stuck here on Iceland, so they already settled here, they don't want to come back to their Landia, and their Landia is gonna be okay with this at the end of the day. So yeah, now this region is known by the entire world, and these guys are gonna be let here to chill on Iceland. Now we are gonna have these northern Russian nations that we've had seen form at the beginning of this video. We'll now have them expand here into the Finnish regions around here, and they will be taking all this land, and now they just got more land, and now they are also bordering these other Russian nations and the St. Petersburg nation and almost the Finnish nation. Jumping to the Finnish nation that I just talked about, I also have them do some expansion, and more exactly they will be claiming some land here into the Finnish Kolan Peninsula regions and take all this land, and now the North Russian nation has one more neighbor. And something about all these Russian nations, they are all super friendly with each other, they are exploring together, they are mapping the world out together, and they are very friendly, trading. Basically this part of the world is pretty friendly with each other, which isn't a common theme in this world, especially considering what just happened between Teria and Merodria, considering the recent Kadoshian crisis that happened in here. Anyway, that will do it for today's video. I hope you liked it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.